Hey, folks, welcome to another episode of the award-winning Legends of Sport podcast. I'm your host, Andy Bernstein. So far this season, we have been bringing you interviews from the 2025 Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame enshrinement festivities, and we continue with that today. On this episode, we have a combination of some great personalities and hoops royalty that we got a few minutes to sit with or caught on the red carpet. The great Sylvia Fowles, the one and only Woj, Adrian Wojnarowski, the terrific Malika Andrews, and the legend Maya Moore. This is a fun episode, folks, and I thank all the guests for stopping by to chat with me. Hope you enjoy it, and as always, I'll see you on the backside. Well, so great to be sitting here with Sylvia Fowles, the newest enshrinee into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. Obvious question, how's it feel?
It feels great.
Yeah.
I'm definitely honored.
Yes.
Especially with the class that I'm going in with. Proud basketball moment, I must say.
Yeah, it's great. Tell me a little bit about your presenters, right? You have Katie Smith and you have Lindsay Whalen, right?
So Katie was my mentor in 2008 for Team USA. And so I only felt that this would be in a full circle moment to have her back and have her present me. And Lindsay, she basically just took me under her wing when I was in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And once I left and retired, and she left and retired, I can recount on how many times a week she reached out to make sure I'm okay and ask me what I'm doing. So I felt like this was an honor to have them present me. Yeah.
That's beautiful. I thought you should have probably included Dennis Rodman in there because I had never seen anybody rebound,
The ball
male
like
or
that.
female, right?
I think if I would have knew him a little bit more, then I would have asked, but I didn't even feel comfortable asking, but
Sure.
I wish I should have.
So I'm just wondering, was he like, I know, sort of somebody you wanted to emulate a little bit? I mean, male or female, doesn't matter, but, you know, who did you look to in your game to get your game better?
Shaquille O'Neal,
Yes.
Amari Stoudemire, and of course, Rodman.
Oh, that's a trifecta right there.
I thought, once I figured out who he was in rebounding the world, I was like, why not?
Yeah, for sure. And Defensive Player of the Year 4 times? That been done before in WNBA?
I think Catchings have one up on me, or
Okay.
if we're not tied.
All right.
Yeah,
We'll give her that. And how many times did you win the championship?
twice.
Wow,
Yeah.
unbelievable. Tell me about that Lynx team.
Oh, man. The Dynasty?
Yeah.
They pretty much was kicking and rolling before I got there. I felt like I was a good piece to the puzzle.
Yeah.
Because they had stepped away from a post that was back to the basket. And they had that in Taj McWilliams-Franklin and Janelle McCarville. And so I felt like I was a good fit, and I got there, and we stuck like glue.
Yeah, that's amazing. So I wasn't there when Lisa Leslie dunked for the first time in a WNBA game. It was actually the night off, believe it or not. Thank God we had another photographer there. And then I didn't realize that you were the third. I thought you were the second to dunk.
The third, yeah.
The third.
Yeah.
Who was the second? I got
Maybe
my notes.
Candace?
Right, I didn't realize that.
Candace.
Yeah, it's crazy. So tell me what you're doing now. Like, you're retired, obviously, but what's life like now for you?
Life for me is busy.
Yeah.
I changed agents into retirement, and they've been keeping me busy. So I do a little bit of everything. I travel a lot, do a lot of clinics, camps, and speaking engagements. But when that died down, then I go back to my second job, which is Undertaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Undertaker?
Undertaker.
Is that news? I mean, do people know that?
Everybody knows that.
I did not know
Now
that.
you know.
Wow. That's amazing. That's
Thank you.
that's a first for 8 seasons of the Legends of Sport podcast.
Oh,
Nobody's
this is
ever
the
said
first?
that.
Oh, okay. I'm happy to be the first.
Sylvia, I can't thank you enough. I know it's a crazy night. It's right before all the craziness of the Hall of Fame weekend, but thank you for stopping by.
Thank you for having me.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
I mean, just enjoy it. You know, this happens once in your life, and it's just such a thrill to sit with you tonight.
Thank you
thanks.
so much.
Thank you. Well, so great to have you here, Adrian Wojnarowski. Did I get it right?
Right on it, Andy.
Because, you know, there's like 25 different versions.
No, you got it right on it.
But Woj, it's so great to see you, and huge congratulations for the Gowdy Award this year at the Hall of Fame. Welcome to the family. Welcome to the club.
Honor to join with
Yeah.
Honor to join it with you.
You know, I just kind of peeked it on your speech. How daunting was that, getting up in front of everybody?
Yeah, it's you want to walk that line between thanking people who've been very important to you, and not putting the whole room to sleep.
Yeah, right.
There's a line there somewhere.
Yeah.
So you're trying to walk that.
Yeah. So, Woj, your career correct me if I'm wrong, but pretty much coincided with like the explosion on the internet of sports information and just needing to know stuff like now or maybe before now, right? Which is your trademark. What was the first biggest like Woj bomb? I guess maybe before it was called a Woj bomb that you came up with.
Yeah, I mean, I was a newspaper reporter, and that's what I only ever imagined that I would do. I never really imagined another life, and came up at small papers in Connecticut as a student, and then went to St. Bonaventure, and kind of just thought of working my way through that industry. And then the industry started moving toward digital and online, and made the move to Yahoo Sports, which was probably the most dramatic move I made, going from a newspaper columnist in the New York area to Yahoo to cover the NBA.
Yeah.
And as you said, at a time when I think a couple things were happening. Number one, Team USA had started to get the best NBA players to talk about playing with each other. And then 2010, LeBron and Chris Bosh go to Miami, and that opens up the door for a lot of major player movement through that decade. And now there's like a whole different appetite for not just the big deals, but the small deals that lead to the big deals. And it started to change. And then there's this appetite for information instantly. And I think a couple things contributed to that. You know, people will look at Twitter, and there's no question, but the cell phone. The cell phone all of a sudden made it that you had access to people 24/7. When I started in the business, you called the landline, you called them in their office. If you didn't get them at 5 or 5:30, you try them back at 9 in the morning. You didn't always call, you know, maybe you'd call them at home.
And sometimes, you know, you'd have to go to press without the interview. Or
and
whatever.
so it just, that changed it, right? You could text, you could email. And so I think that's an underrated piece of technology, and how news and information, your ability to gather information now impacts how you can deliver it. And so I was the beneficiary of great timing, that move to Yahoo, and a great group at Yahoo where we were able to harness at that time, you know, very powerful website. And again, at a time, and Twitter became this instantaneous place to instantaneously share information. And then like the insider job, whether it was NBA, NFL with Adam Schefter and others, baseball, it started to morph into something maybe it hadn't been yet.
I see. And at that point, you were not in front of the camera, right? So what was that transition? Like, what was the moment in time when suddenly you're going to be put in front of the camera? I've talked to David Aldridge, Mark Stein, all our friends who started off as journalists. I mean, I started off as a journalist, and now like I'm in front of the camera. It makes no sense to me. But what was that moment for you? How did that all happen?
Yeah, like I did when I was in newspapers in the New York area. MSG Network had a sports writer show without, you know, the great Al Troutwig.
Oh yeah,
and Al made it so, you know, there's a few hosts you work with. Yeah. Al Troutwig, the Scott Van Pelts, the Mike Greenbergs, now the Malika Andrews, who they're like great point guards, and they just put it right. They put the ball right there. Yeah. And Al was like that, so he made it easy. But you're learning, and did some other, you know, regional TV, some different, and then you go to ESPN. And the one thing that I always tried to keep in mind was, you know, I'm certainly not on there for my looks. I'm not on there for my voice. Yeah. That you better have information. Two things. You better have information nobody else has, and you better have accurate information, and hopefully you have it first. Yep. And that whatever else goes into being on TV, if you have the news at ESPN, you are going to be on. So that's how I looked at it. And then it's like any other discipline where, you know, you get better at it with time, and you work with talented people who help you, and you just try to be yourself. And that's what I always, just be yourself, be who you are. Don't try to play the part of something, because that definitely doesn't work. And so, and again, like the most important thing was being able to have the news and have it, and again, be accurate with it.
Yeah, you know, I talked to Dave McMenamin a couple of times on the podcast and privately about, you know, all of a sudden he's on TV, and, you know, his 2-page story becomes like 2 paragraphs. I mean, you have to be so concise, in that business, and you're on live TV, by the way.
And you learn that. Adam Schefter gave me a great piece of advice. He said, talk in headlines.
Yes.
And write down 3, really at any time, 2 or 3 really key points. And that's all you have time for.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you're trying to tell much more than that, you're probably rambling into a bad place. Not that, and that happened too.
Yeah.
So,
it's interesting when you talked about, your writing background and working on a story and sources and interviews, and you got to make a deadline, and then you don't see your story until like it's in the newspaper. You go, the corner, wherever it is, or in front of your house. Same thing for me, Nat Butler. All the guys who started back in the film days, some of us would never even see our film. Like we'd shoot a game tonight, the film would go back to the NBA or Sports Illustrated or whatever. And now it's absolute instant gratification. I mean, the new generation doesn't really get what we had to go through, the anxiety of waiting for a
uphill, both directions in the snow.
Yeah.
Walking, yeah.
So when you talk to young people who want to be you, right? Because I get this all the time. They just think like something's going to fall out of the air and they're going to read it and they're going to get famous and get 1 million followers the next day, right? But that's not how it works. How much work is involved in you coming to the table with that information that's accurate?
It's a lot of, and you know this, Andrew, it is a lot of quiet, lonely hours. Hundreds and thousands of them through the years that put you in position to do the kind of work that's required to work at some of the places we were fortunate to work at. And, I was a beneficiary of, and I was just talking with someone about this the other day, of, starting with high school football and learning how to meet a deadline on Friday night in bad weather and with rosters that were incomplete and dictating a story back to the office from a payphone.
Right.
And I would say that's much harder than anything I ever did on free agency or cover the NBA finals.
But nobody gets that.
And you learn to talk to, you learn to talk to the high school football coach who just got beat 35-0 and doesn't want to talk to the reporter after the game. And can you get him off the bus to come talk to you for your story? Or 16-year-old quarterback who may not have a lot to say yet. Yeah. And that prepares you to go one-on-one with Kobe Bryant or with a great player where, you're going to be able to keep their interest with your line of questioning and be able to, they want to be challenged too. They don't want to. And so that all prepares you. And I worry a little bit some of those places and entities where you could really, it's a craft. These are crafts. And you don't learn it sitting behind a keyboard. You learn it out in the field with people, and some of that's lost just because the opportunities are lost. But jobs and opportunities now, it looks different. It's not going to look like how it did with us.
Completely agree.
But I think what doesn't change are the fundamentals. And the fundamentals and having a process of how you prepare a story, how you report a story, how you write a story, how you check the veracity and the accuracy. Right. No matter how fast the rest of it's all moving, that process can't change because that's where you'll get in trouble. And I always tell people, you can get, in this job, I could break, or anybody, you could break 10 stories, 100 stories, 1,000 stories. Get them right, great. But if you get a big one wrong, that's what they will remember, and maybe rightfully so. So you have to, I would always say, I could live with getting beat on a story. I didn't like it. Yeah. I might be irritable to be around, but I couldn't live with being wrong. Yeah. And that's, I would say, sometimes you'd say, okay, I can live to fight another day, but not if I get one wrong. And that doesn't mean you're perfect, right? But when you make a mistake or you have incomplete information, correct it right away. Yeah. And most people can accept, hey, let me clarify this. It's this. Don't blame somebody else. Don't blame your editor. Don't blame the source. Own it. And most people can accept that and move on. It's an imperfect business.
Yeah, I love it. It's so eloquent, because I think in my job that I always like to say that I never wanted it to be an operator error. That was something I did wrong, that I didn't get that dunk, that game-winning shot, celebration, whatever it could be. sometimes you had technical difficulties and a referee gets in your way of a great Kobe dunk, whatever.
People don't realize, and sometimes how much luck plays in is a factor. And you just say, it was my brilliance, it was my eye. I mean, I got lucky so many times. And sometimes luck is putting in the work, putting yourself in position to get a big story, to get a great photo. And it breaks right because you did the work. But sometimes it was as simple as the ref was one step to the right or to the left.
Yeah.
And I think that keeps you humble that this is imperfect, and hopefully we get a chance to do it again tomorrow and try again.
Yeah, I hear you, man. So this is a great honor. Your whole family, I'm sure, is here. I mean, what does it mean to you to be in the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame? I mean, to me, it was a mind-blowing experience because I kept pinching myself. Like it never even entered my mind that could happen, Like to me, I look at the list with the Gowdy Award. Yeah.
And people who are idols of mine. Harvey Araton, Bob Ryan, Jackie McMullen, people, and then others that I worked with. Mark Spears, I worked with for a long time at Yahoo, and then ESPN, and you go on the list, and so people who became friends and who I admire in many cases even more personally, despite how great they were professionally, and then others that you just looked up to in the business, and so to see your name even mentioned with them is really pretty amazing, and you have to pinch yourself.
Yeah, and you also think about all the work you did. I mean, really, to get to this point, to be recognized by your peers, really, it's unbelievable. So please leave me with a Kobe story. Something about Kobe. Maybe you could have told it to someone else, but my relationship with him, 20 years, we did the book together. I never saw anybody work as hard as him in my entire life, in or out of basketball. Was there ever a moment, something with him that you could share with us?
It's always, so much of it. Two things with Kobe that his intellectual curiosity, one of the most curious people I knew. I always felt Kobe knew as much or more about my industry, our industry, than we did. Yeah. He understood that. Yeah. And liked to look at the competition among and how you. Yeah. And, but his competitive when a lot of times Kobe would want to do an interview, he'd want to talk, he would say, hey, go meet me on the road, usually a cold Midwestern city. Yeah. And sometimes LA. And so I remember there was I don't remember, it was Michael Jordan had done some interview and had some list of either who we thought was the best player or who he was, whatever the list was, Kobe wasn't on it or he wasn't at the top. And so, we went and met. It was right after. I remember he had it was like a varsity jacket. He had the two. It was after the back-to-back titles. So it was that next year.
So one of the Jeff Hamilton jackets.
Yes. And we met in Minneapolis. Yeah. And he knew exactly where he wanted to take this interview. And I think we were talking about, hey, he was one championship away from Michael. He was at 5. And so he knew I was going to ask about Michael. And he said, well, Michael wasn't really the one I emulated. And I said, really? He goes, it was Michael Jackson.
No way.
And really? So we do this. So he tells me about when he was young in LA, that Michael Jackson, he'd go up to his studio and he would Michael would show him the meticulous way in which he would prepare music, write music, take him in the studio, note by note. And that really it was Michael Jackson who had this tremendous impact on him.
Wow.
So we talked through it and I wrote about it. And so I remember I went back to my hotel room and I'm Googling. I'm like, has he ever talked about Michael Jackson? And I found, I think, one clip from maybe Michael's memorial service where he was interviewed for a minute. Yeah. And so I wrote it. And as I'm saying, I knew what he was doing. It was his way of saying to Michael Jordan, it wasn't really you. Now, it was just kind of but it was Michael's competitive. Yeah. And it was just, or Kobe's competitive drive. And I know how he felt about Jordan, and it was obvious, but he just felt slighted by Michael, and I think it was a way for him to kind of dig back at Michael a little bit. But it was a great story. He was telling me about this history with Michael Jackson, and so it's just how there was nobody else who would do that, who would go and so.
I got to look up that story.
It was a Yahoo story. It was in the
fantastic.
Preseason.
I never heard that story.
It was early season.
Yeah.
whatever. So 2011,
Yeah, it had to be
they won. When did they win? 9, 10, 11?
10, yeah.
And and so he was just, and I remember one of the last big games at the Garden, the 61-point game at the Garden, and we were going to meet the next morning, I think, for breakfast in the city. And he left the Garden late. He was on that. Remember, he's going down I remember I was living in Jersey, and Kobe had a huge game at the half, and I drove into the city to get there. I got there by the 4th. You just knew. And the next night, so we were supposed to meet in the morning. Yeah. He goes for 61. He played a lot of minutes. He did the interviews. He left the Garden late. And I want to say when I met him at 8, he had already worked out. Ugh. And there was nobody
legendary.
Like that.
I mean, this is almost the whole weekend is based on these 2008 Redeem Team guys recanting
and his impact on that team.
Unbelievable.
Was incredible. Yeah. And even when we were in the bubble, I remember saying to people, Kobe would have loved the bubble. Yeah. Just basketball. Everybody else was trying to decide whether they wanted to be there or not. Yeah. And Kobe would have saw it as an opportunity, short playoff run. I can rest my body without the travel.
Work out.
I'm gonna win a championship in here. Yeah. Like I know how he would have viewed. Yeah. He would have loved the bubble.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Well, on that note, my friend, thanks so much.
Great to be with you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. That was a great story. They were all great, but I hadn't heard that one before.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you, Andrew.
All right, I'm on the other side.
On the other side.
We're here with Malika Andrews. So you're here for WOJ. Just tell me a couple of things that you love about WOJ and you're here to celebrate.
Yeah, I mean, Adrian's been a mentor, a friend to me for over a decade now, which is kind of crazy to say, and it dates back to when I was in college, and he took a chance on me before I was ready to sort of take a chance on myself, and that's something that always will mean the world to me. And look, Adrian was tough on me. He was supportive of me. He let me, during COVID, when I was on the East Coast and couldn't get home to my family, he took me in for Thanksgiving.
Really?
And so it's been a really special relationship. It is so well-deserved. I'm so glad that he's a Kurt Gowdy Award winner.
Well, we had him on the podcast earlier, and we congratulate him, of course. But, what are we going to do without WOJ bombs now, right?
I mean, I've been living in a WOJ-less world, I guess, for a year in terms of professionally. But the great thing, I guess I'm so spoiled and lucky, is that he's still my friend, and I still get to pick up the phone and call him. But I think for a lot of folks around the league, for those first couple of weeks and months, anytime there was still a scoop, they'd reach for their phone, they'd go to text WOJ, and then realize, oh, wait, that's not the case anymore. So it's a little bit of a different world for sure. He changed the game.
Well, thank you so much. Enjoy it. Say hi to your husband, Dave, one of my great friends.
Where is he?
Hi, Dave.
Because Syracuse will be represented this weekend.
Yeah, thank you. You're the best. Well, here we are with Maya Moore. Congratulations, an inductee to the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. You had an amazing career. 4 WNBA championships, 2 gold medals, a million other things. How does this feel tonight?
Yeah, it's incredible just to be here with this group of people, to take the time to celebrate. We need to do that more, just to stop and to celebrate and appreciate our journey. So I'm just super excited to be here.
Hey, who's presenting you tomorrow night?
I've got a handful of presenters, and I actually think I'm going to keep it as a surprise.
Oh, a surprise. Surprise. You heard it first. Well, I can't thank you enough for just stopping by, but congratulations to both of you, to your family. Nice to meet you, sir. Thank you, sir. Andy. Nice to meet you. And just enjoy it. This happens once in a lifetime, so thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Okay. Well, it was a hectic Hall of Fame enshrinement weekend for sure, and I thank Sylvia, WOJ, Malika, and Maya for chatting with me. Hope you all enjoyed this episode, folks. Thanks as always to our producer, Carlin Barker, and our editors, Sean Gosser and Addison Shao. Thanks, everyone, for joining us for this episode of the podcast. We are thankful to all our loyal followers. Please tell all your friends to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Legends of Sport, and our Instagram at Legends of Sport, and my photography can be found on Instagram at ADB Photo Inc. Please check out the discount link in our social media to our friends at Muggsy. We absolutely love their clothes. And the discount link to our new friends at You Should, the best way you should protect your skin for work, play, and everyday life. Thanks again, folks. We'll be back next week with another episode of the Legends of Sport podcast.